What happens when a CEO steps out of his office and into the shadows, only to witness the kindness the world never notices and cruelty he never expected? The lunch rush at Grill Point Deli had just started to simmer. Fryers hissed, timers beeped, and the low hum of chatter echoed across the cramped corner of the food court. Cashiers tapped screens like second nature. Cooks called out numbers, and customers barely made eye contact as they reached for their bags. But in the far corner, tucked behind the potted plant near the smoothie machine, sat a man no one recognized. Nathan Ellis, mid-40s, clean-cut in jeans and a light jacket, quietly sipped a cup of burnt coffee. His demeanor was relaxed, but his eyes missed nothing. He wasn't here for lunch. He was here to watch. Nathan was the founder and CEO of Grill Point Deli, a fast-growing fast-casual chain that had expanded to 15 locations in just under 4 years. From the outside, business was booming. But lately, Nathan had received reports about the Baywood Mall branch: high turnover, customer complaints, cold service, too many red flags in too short a time. So he came in undercover. No cameras, no press. Just curiosity and a growing sense of unease. Behind the counter was Rachel, one of the junior cashiers. Late 20s, fast hands, tired eyes. Her uniform was neat, her ponytail pulled tight, and her voice soft but steady. "Hi there, welcome to Grill Point. What can I get for you today?" Nathan noticed how often she smiled, genuinely. Not because she had to, because she chose to. He also noticed she was running both the register and the drink station, alone. The floor manager, Dean, leaned against the back counter scrolling. On his phone, Nathan kept watching. Around 1:25 p.m., a small boy walked into the deli, no more than 7, dirt on his sleeves, shoes a size too big. He stood in line with no adult in sight, clutching a crumpled dollar in his hand. Rachel was the first to notice. She crouched slightly. "Hey buddy, you hungry?" The boy nodded, eyes on the glass display of grilled cheese and nuggets. Rachel glanced toward Dean, who didn't even look up. She turned back to the boy. "What can I get for you?" he whispered. "Just fries. That's all I got money for." Rachel bit her lip, then stood up and tapped on the screen. "Okay," she said cheerfully. "One kid's meal. Comes with fries and grilled cheese and a drink." The boy's eyes lit up. "But I don't have enough." "It's okay," she smiled. "Today it's on us." He blinked. "Really?" "Really." She reached into her own apron, pulled out a 5, and slipped it into the till. Nathan leaned forward in his chair, heart clenched, breath held. But before the boy could take the tray, Dean's voice snapped across the counter like a whip. "Rachel, what the hell are you doing?" She stiffened. "He was hungry." Dean marched over, snatched the tray from the counter, and glared at the boy. "You can't just hand out food like this. We're not a charity." Rachel stepped between them. "I paid for it." "Doesn't matter," Dean barked. "We don't encourage strays hanging around the food court." The boy shrank back. Nathan's jaw clenched. Rachel turned to Dean, voice shaking. "He's a kid. He's alone." Dean didn't budge. "Not our problem." He tossed the tray into the bin. "And you do this again, you're out." Rachel stared at the trash, can, tears forming in the corners of her eyes. The boy bolted out the door. Nathan rose slowly from his seat. He had seen enough, and tomorrow, he wouldn't be quiet anymore. The next morning at Grill Point Deli, Baywood Mall, the air buzzed with routine. Bacon sizzled, orders popped on the screen, and the same tired playlist looped in the background. But behind the counter, Rachel moved slower than usual. Her voice was still polite, her hands still steady. But something was gone. That quiet spark Nathan had seen, the one that showed up even when no one else did. It was dimmed. And Dean? He acted like nothing had happened. He joked with the line cooks. He teased the new hire about wiping counters, like a rookie. If anyone noticed Rachel's silence, They didn't ask, but Nathan noticed. This time, he didn't sit quietly. He walked through the front door, this time wearing his real name badge, clipped neatly to a navy button-down. Nathan Ellis, founder. And CEO Dean nearly choked on his sip of soda when he looked up. "Mr. Ellis," he stammered, standing straighter. "Wow, what a surprise. Didn't know you were coming in today." "That was the point," Nathan replied calmly. He looked around. "Call the team in back," he said. "I'd like to speak with everyone, now." 10 minutes later, the entire staff, front and back, stood shoulder to shoulder in the narrow prep space behind the service line. Aprons stained, brows sweaty, some curious, others nervous. Rachel stood at the edge of the group, eyes wide. She had no idea what was coming. Nathan faced them. "I came in yesterday," he began, "as a customer." The room stilled. No one knew who I was. No special name, no camera. I just sat, and I watched. He let the silence settle. And what I saw broke my heart. Rachel looked down. Nathan continued. "I saw a child, alone, scared, hungry, offered a warm meal by someone who didn't ask for credit, who didn't hesitate." His eyes landed on Rachel. I saw compassion. Then his tone shifted, just slightly sharper. And then I saw that compassion punished. He turned to Dean. "I saw you throw that tray in the trash. I saw you threaten the only employee here who acted like a human being." Dean opened his mouth, but Nathan raised a hand. "I don't want excuses. I want accountability." Dean swallowed hard. "Sir, it's policy. We can't just give away food. It's not personal." Nathan took a step closer. "But it is personal. Every action here is personal. You don't get to treat people like line items just because you're tired or in charge." He turned back to the staff. This store was meant to be different. It was built on kindness, on community. And what happened yesterday, that's not what we stand for. He looked back to Dean. "You're suspended, effective immediately. HR will follow up within the hour." Dean froze. "Wait, sir." Nathan cut him off. "You don't get to yell at someone for doing the right thing. Not in my store." The room stayed silent. Then Rachel, her voice barely above a whisper, said, "I didn't do it to be seen. I just couldn't let him go hungry." Nathan nodded. "And that's exactly why it matters." He stepped closer to her, handing her a folded envelope. Inside was a note, written in Nathan's own handwriting. "You reminded me why I started this company. Thank you for showing me who really leads." Attached was a prepaid scholarship application for food service management training and 2 weeks paid leave to rest. Rachel stared at it, stunned. "I don't even know what to say." "You already said it," Nathan replied, "when you chose kindness." The next few days at the Baywood Grill Point Deli were unusually quiet, not in sound, but in spirit. Ever since Dean was suspended, the team had been operating in a strange, in-between space. No more intimidation, no more snide remarks, no more passive-aggressive corrections yelled across the line. But without a manager, there was also no structure, no one barking orders, enforcing rules, or stepping up to lead. And yet, things didn't fall apart. They got better, not because someone told them to, because someone showed them how. Rachel didn't ask to be in charge. She wasn't the most senior. She didn't carry a clipboard or wear a headset, but everyone watched how she moved, how she offered to take over the register when Jamie froze in front of a long line, how she wiped down the kids' high chairs without being asked, how she checked every customer's receipt before they left, just to make sure there were no extra charges, no surprises, no reason to doubt the place again. And somehow, it caught on. Leo, the fry cook who used to grumble, through his entire shift, started prepping sauces without being told. "If she's staying late, I ain't leaving early," he muttered one night, scraping the grease tray clean. Carla, the kitchen lead, began checking in with front-of-house staff more regularly. "You good out here?" she asked Rachel, glancing at the growing lunch crowd. Need backup? Even Jamie, the nervous part-timer still in high school, started staying an extra 10 minutes after clocking out, just to help clean up. One day, a regular customer, an elderly woman named Mrs. Dillard, who always ordered a turkey melt and water, walked in and paused at the counter. Rachel noticed her wobble slightly. You okay, ma'am? The woman looked embarrassed. I forgot my wallet, left it in the other purse, Rachel smiled gently. Then today's melt is on us. No, I couldn't. It's okay, we've got you. Carla peeked around the kitchen doorway. Put a cookie on the tray too. The woman's eyes welled up. You girls are angels. That moment might have passed quietly, but it didn't go unnoticed. Standing at the edge of the food court, out of uniform but always observing, was Nathan Ellis. He had returned, no fanfare, no entourage, just to watch. He saw the tray, the kindness, the teamwork. He saw everything Dean had failed to build, now standing tall without him. And it started with the girl who chose compassion when no one else did. That evening, Nathan returned to his office with a different energy. He wasn't just proud, he was inspired. He opened his laptop and began drafting something new, the kindness model, a frontline leadership initiative, recognizing team members not for speed or sales, but for the quiet human moments that make us different. A smile, a free meal, a patient answer, a safe place. He attached a note to Char. Make Rachel the first inductee. She reminded me what this place was meant to be. 2 weeks after the incident at Baywood, something remarkable was happening inside the Grill Point franchise. It didn't come from a press release. It didn't come from new training manuals or posters on the wall. It came from Rachel. She didn't walk differently. She didn't speak louder. She still wore the same name tag, still tied her apron the same way, still double-checked receipts before she handed them out. But something had shifted, and everyone around her could feel it. Her quiet compassion had become the pulse of the store. Customers were greeted with more warmth. Co-workers offered to cover each other's breaks without being asked. The kitchen team, even the grumpiest ones, began placing sticky notes on takeout bags with small messages like, "You matter. Stay safe today. Thanks for choosing kindness." None of it was official policy, but it all started with one act. At headquarters, Nathan Ellis was watching the data pour in. Customer reviews were spiking. Employee retention in the region had improved by 28%, but most importantly, the complaints had stopped. He couldn't ignore what was right in front of him. This wasn't a one-store success story. This was a blueprint. So, Nathan made a decision, a bold one. He paused new store expansion across the state and called for a full leadership summit, one that brought every regional manager, supervisor, and trainer into one room. And standing at the front of that room, projected on a screen above him, was not a graph, not a quarterly earnings slide, but a still image, grainy, pulled from a corner security cam. Rachel, kneeling down, offering a tray of food to a small boy with worn sneakers and wide eyes. No text, no caption, just kindness, caught in action. The room was silent. Then Nathan spoke. "This is who we need to become." He took a slow breath. "I didn't plan on being at that store. I didn't go there to catch someone breaking rules. But I did go to listen, to see." He turned toward the image. "I watched an employee choose compassion over policy, and I watched a manager destroy that moment. Right there, I realized we had lost our way." Nathan looked back at his audience. "But now we've been shown how to find it again." He announced a new initiative, Project Heartline, a company-wide movement rooted in values over volume. Every team member would receive a paid compassion training day each quarter. Each store would nominate a Heartline hero monthly, not for performance, but for humanity, and the first face printed on the company's internal leadership wall, Rachel. Back at Baywood, she had no idea the ripple effect she'd created. She was wiping down a soda machine. singing softly to herself, thinking about whether she could finally afford to sign up for night classes. The promotion Nathan had quietly offered was now real, training stipend and all, but she didn't know her name was being spoken in rooms she'd never stepped into, that other stores were quoting her actions during team huddles, that her decision to help a child was being used as a case study in every new employee orientation packet. She didn't need to, because Rachel didn't do it for attention. She did it because she remembered what it was like to be overlooked. That evening, as she locked up the store and stepped out into the fading light, Nathan was waiting by the food court entrance, not in a suit this time, just in jeans and a hoodie. Holding 2 coffees, he handed one to her. "Thank you," he said. She blinked. "Again?" "No," Nathan smiled. "This time, for reminding me who we are." They sat together for a while in silence. 2 people from different sides of a business, bound by one truth. Real change doesn't happen in corporate offices. It happens behind counters, in food courts, on slow days when no one is watching, except the right person. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes the smallest acts of kindness become the biggest stories the world needs to hear.